and welcome to the Asking Autistics podcast. I'm your host, Lindsey, Brains and Spoons.
And I'm your standard goth. My name is Ribera Bonbon.
And we were talking amongst ourselves about our different health conditions and things that the diagnostic process that we're going through, and realized, hey, we should make an episode, more episodes about comorbidities, which is co-occurring health conditions that we have along with our neurodivergence. So many of these that are unfortunately very common for folks who are autistic. There's a lot of physical illnesses and conditions that are quite highly comorbid statistically.
And as we talk about these things, just please remember, none of this is medical advice. We are not doctors. We are simply just talking about our own experiences and our own bodies and the way we manage our health. If you are hearing any of the things that we talk about today and you think that you might be experiencing the same, please talk to a doctor. Please talk to a doctor. We are not diagnosticians and we cannot help you. Well, not in that way.
I'm not a doctor and I don't even play one on TV. So
I wish I did.
right? Hire us.
Hire us.
I have a number of different chronic illnesses and autoimmune conditions and things. You have been going through the diagnostic process recently for POTS.
Yep. They literally had me attached to a heart monitor they prescribed it for 1 whole month, which is not normal. Usually it's supposed to be like a week or 2. But the doctor who I saw for these symptoms was like, the problem with your heart is that, or your heart rate, because they did an EKG in the appointment, and he straight up was like, the problem with your heart rate is that right now, while it is high, it is like on the high end, it's still within normal range. So I can't give you any sort of diagnosis right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prescribe a long-term study over this for you, because I understand this is the first time I got a doctor who actually was understanding and didn't medically gaslight me. That's a rarity in the comorbid world. But he was like, right?
Like winning the lottery.
Literally his words and the nurses who were helping him, all of them said, we believe that you are experiencing these symptoms. We believe you when you tell us this. So we are going to try and help you get to the bottom of this. And they straight up were like, one of the things that the nurses said, she was like, okay, even if after all of this, it comes back and it's like all in your head, you would know, the best thing is you'll know that now so that you can treat it as anxiety. And that's still understanding better. And I was just like, who are you? And what have you done with actual doctors? Cause this can't be right. You must be like aliens. But no, they weren't aliens.
Wow.
They were just really understanding doctors. And so he prescribed me a heart monitor to wear for an entire month. It lasted 3 weeks before I ran out of the sticky stuff that's supposed to keep it to my chest. And it just kept saying poor skin contact, poor skin contact, poor skin contact. And I was like, okay, I'm done with this. And I just took it off. I was like, if you don't have 3 weeks worth of data, at this point, if you can't diagnose me from that, I don't think there's anything that can help. But I do think they got some really good data off of that 3 weeks, because about a week and a half in, and the way this heart monitor worked is that if I was experiencing symptoms, I press a button and then it would connect to a phone that they gave me, and it would give me a list of symptoms to pick from that I was experiencing as a result of pressing the button. So there were a lot of different symptoms listed on there. But the ones that I was consistently feeling were being out of breath, rapid heartbeat, dizziness, lightheadedness, or fainting. Lucky for me, I didn't have a full fainting spell this time. I almost did literally yesterday, because for some reason it's been getting increasingly worse and worse as time has gone by, which means I probably will start experiencing fainting spells more often than I have been. I would label all of those, and it got to the point where literally last week, 2 weeks ago, I went to Disneyland, and over the weekend I had to press during my time there, I had to press the button a lot because I was just experiencing a lot of symptoms. They called me the next Monday and they're like, hey, we got a notification from your heart monitor that your heart was extremely rapid over the weekend, and we just want to make sure that 1, you're not dead, and 2, we want to make sure that we want to know what you were doing that would cause this. And I was just like, I was on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Disneyland.
Oh, roller coasters. Oh my
No,
gosh,
not
and
even a
that would cause
it's a
craziness too.
it's an elevator that drops you and brings you back up in rapid
Oh, okay.
succession. So that actually I learned would really affect POTS. If you don't know what POTS is, it is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So basically, what that means is that my body is not circulating blood properly throughout my entire body, and it's instead just letting gravity do the work, which means it pools in my feet. It pools in the bottom of half of me. And so with the reason that the Guardians of the Galaxy ride triggered it is because the circulation was going haywire because it didn't know what to do with the gravity situation because gravity
Oh
was
my god.
going nuts. And so like I had a full on episode where we had to sit and take a lot of breaks because I was just like I was seriously just out of breath for like a good 15 minutes and my heart rate wasn't coming down for a while. And then it happened
Yeah.
again on the Spider-Man ride, which if you don't know what that is, it's like a virtual game ride where you are playing as basically like as a Peter Parker and you're shooting webs throughout the entire thing, trying to get the highest score by shooting enough of these little spider bots that are malfunctioning. And so it's just this, it's nonstop back and forth arm movements, which gets your heart rate up. And I work out, I work out like 2 to 3 hours every single day. That includes my cardio and my heavy lifting. I have not been able to, during this time until like a week ago, I have not been able to crack 15, 20 minutes on my exercising because I've been so exhausted physically. But as soon as my personal trainer who has POTS told me, she's like, I really do think that this might be POTS. So she was like, why don't we do the things that I do to manage my POTS and see if that helps you? And so one of the things that she suggested is that I start wearing compression gear. So I bought a whole bunch of compression socks, compression leggings. I bought one of these like compression leotards. It's like the Spanx kind that they use when
Yeah.
they're like, oh, hide your like keep everything tight so that you can like look good and have neat, clean body lines in this whatever form fitting dress that you're going to wear. So I bought one of those and I've been wearing it with my compression socks and my compression tights. I'm functioning like a normal human being again. I can do 30 minutes of cardio. Used to be like an hour, but like 30 minutes is better than getting out of breath and having to stop at 15.
Yeah,
And
that's amazing. Well, and what using self-accommodating, buying compression wear is something that, anybody can do if you are struggling with things. Compression wear
yep.
helps a lot of us. Like, I know I just wear it most of the time. Like, it helps with my pain level management, but it also, if you have things like EDS where, my body doesn't always stay in the place that it's supposed to. I also have interstitial cystitis, which is a bladder issue. And I have a circulatory issue as well. It's not POTS, it's Raynaud's syndrome, so where my fingers and toes and things will not get enough blood flow and they will go numb. Sometimes like they'll turn purple. It's wild. But I have found wearing, Spanx like stuff, the compression stuff that people wear, like you said, for smooth lines to like make your body look better is actually like more comfortable for me in many instances. It helps me regulate some of my other medical conditions, which is wild and crazy. But it's when we talk about how there's a lot of things out there that are helpful, like for disability, even if that's not their intended purpose or it's not what a majority of people think about when they think about these items, like it's actually really helpful for us. Things
Mhm.
like Spanxy kind of stuff is really helpful for a lot of us with chronic illnesses. I mean, things like the Snuggie, that you can put
Yeah.
like, and now like these big baggy blanket wear type things. A lot of people with mobility issues, folks who use wheelchairs, things like that. That's a really helpful item. That's like a very accommodating for them. And so there's all kinds of things out there that you don't realize, like that they can be
Yeah.
used to help people.
And it's funny that you mentioned like the compression helping with like chronic pain issues and EDS. For those who don't know, I got hit by a car a couple years ago. Like it wasn't super, super bad because they were stopped at a red light and I was in a crosswalk and they were trying to turn right and they didn't see me. And so like they kind of lightly bumped me, but it's still like a 2-ton death machine bumping my leg. And ever since, because I also didn't go to the hospital because I had an immediate elopement, autism brain took over and said, nope, we're wandering. We're continuing our routine and schedule. We're not letting anything, who cares if we're limping? We're going to continue. I never went to the hospital for it because also due to fear of medical gaslighting from my own history of chronic illness, I was like, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to help me. I'm afraid of hospitals. But ever since, I've had pretty moderate issues with my knee because it affected I don't I don't remember what the nerve tendon is, but there's like this specific muscle tendon that goes from your inner thigh and wraps around your kneecap to keep everything in place. And ever since then, I've had issues with that. Like I'll randomly start getting pain in my knee when I work out. And I've had to wear, like, my trainer was like, you need to wear knee braces every day
Mhm.
with this. I don't actually need that so much anymore because of the compression gear that I've been wearing for my POTS. It's actually been doing the same job of keeping my kneecap in place. So,
Yeah.
like, if you have issues with knees or anything like that, like, this can also help you. Getting specifically medical grade compression gear can really help. That's the kind that I got because it needed to be compressive enough to make sure that the blood was flowing in at a proper rate. But again, it helped my knee issues. It's been helping my Ehlers-Danlos syndromes. I have issues with my hips, along with my knees. My hips used to just pop out when I was in high school. I don't know what I did to stop them from doing that as much, but they used to just pop out of place
Oh,
and
yeah.
just go numb and limp until they just randomly would decide to pop back in.
I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, with that I used to dislocate fingers and parts of my arm to try to do, like, magic tricks, thinking like, "Oh, this is great." And now as an adult realizing like, "Oh, no, actually that's was really problematic for my body and stuff." And yeah, EDS stands for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a hypermobility condition, and there's a whole bunch of different kinds. It can cause a lot of different health problems, and it is highly comorbid with autism.
Highly comorbid. In fact, what I'm finding really interesting on this diagnostic journey is a lot of the times when you're like accommodating yourself for one, very often it's helping to accommodate for the others. Because again, like just wearing this compression gear, right? I am treating my POTS. I am also treating my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's like really helping with the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And on top of that, it's also helping me as an autistic person function better because specifically I am an autistic person who I need, like, this is different for every autistic person. So, but me personally, I need compression. When I'm having a meltdown, I need pressure on my chest. When I'm trying to get comfortable, I need a heavy weight on me. And the compression gear is helping that. So it's giving me this compression, this tightness, this comfortability as I'm just doing my everyday life. So it's causing me to have far less anxiety, far less meltdowns. I'm still overstimulated, but I'm less susceptible to that overwhelming me. It's improving my quality of life in like every way. And I find it so interesting. And I know that a lot of these symptoms are all comorbid with autism. Like a lot of autistic people struggle with POTS. A lot of autistic people struggle with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Like, I know we constantly say, or at least a lot of people in the autism community constantly are like, hey, if you have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, might want to get an autism test. Like, it's not always, oh,
Yeah.
you have Ehlers-Danlos, that means you are autistic. But they are so comorbid that so many of us in the community are like, no, 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 no. Get tested for both. And the same with ADHD, get tested for both. It's like, it's interesting. And I really just, just going off on a little bit here, I hope that in the future we get more studies that find what that link is, just because I want to understand it. I don't care about curing it. I want to understand where it
Yeah.
comes from.
Yeah. Well, especially because it's like there's so many of us that have like the same little
Mhm.
cluster of diagnoses and are experiencing similar symptoms and things. I'm very curious about that too. I was getting a tattoo the other day. I got some new little dragons, and the tattoo artist was asking me, "How's my pain?" And I started laughing, and they were like, Okay, explain that." And I was like, "I'm gonna be kind of weird. I don't find tattoos painful. I actually find they calm me. I find the
Mhm.
process very calming, and that is also not completely unusual for autistic people and people who experience chronic pain. But I explained that I'm in a lot of pain in other parts of my body all the time. I have multiple chronic illnesses and pain conditions. And so predictable pain that's like in an isolated area actually makes me feel better. And I think kind of blew their mind. They were like, then how do you go through the rest of your day? If they're like, if tattoos don't hurt, or if that's like, way better than the pain that you're dealing with, they're like, how do you go through life? And I was like, it's hard. Like I don't always succeed. That's the thing. I was like, on one hand, it doesn't go away. And it's hard to explain to people that like you just sometimes you get used to what would be scary for a healthy person to experience is just my normal flat line of pain and stuff. So it doesn't go away. It's just like that is my normal. So I get used to that. And so then when that flares up worse, then I don't leave the house. Then I can't, I have to be in a dark room. And I might take medications or use heating pads or ice packs, whatever it may be that I need to like dull some of it because it's overwhelming. And I think that's what people don't realize is like most folks who have chronic illnesses, who have disabilities that deal with pain issues, chronic pain issues, constant pain issues, is just we mentally have tuned it out. We just like, I don't know how to explain, like, my pain threshold is really, really high
Mhm.
compared to the average person. And so, yeah, tattoos don't hurt me. They feel good. It's weird because it literally I was having an interstitial cystitis flare up, which is a bladder condition, and it makes it feel my body tells me that I have to go to the bathroom all the time. And if anybody's experienced a UTI,
Oh
um,
god. Yeah.
and how much that hurts, it's painful
Mhm.
and it hurts, but it also your body is saying like, you gotta pee, you gotta pee, you gotta pee, right? But also it's like this stabbing, awful pain in your bladder area. That is what happens to me at different points of time. And there just all the like I for my whole life because I have this condition. And there's different things that you can do to mitigate it. But like I wear compression, I wear Spanx because that helps my pelvic floor and stuff. It's real weird, but like that
Mhm.
did help me. So I was wearing the Spanx. And then getting the tattoo, having the pain be in my arm changed my nervous system, meant my nervous system wasn't sending all the signals down below. So it
Mhm.
was like so weird to be like, tattoos make me feel better. Like
No, see, that does not sound weird to me at all because autistic people have a very interesting relationship with pain in particular.
and other signals. Any nervous system signals, our brains don't react the same way that other people's do.
Yeah. So I have this weird thing where I feel like there's good pain and then there's bad pain. I experience a certain level of pain stims, while some of them are the ones like hitting your head when you are overwhelmed and having a meltdown. I'm talking about like in everyday life, like stims that are pain technically, but I'm not doing it because I'm overwhelmed. I'm doing it because it feels good. Like
Right.
for
It's not
me,
self-harm
no,
behaviors. It is a pain
It's
stem. Yeah.
it's literally a pain stim. One of the ones that I've always done is putting duct tape on my mouth and then ripping it off. Like, that is painful to a lot of people, but for me, it was extremely stimulating and I actually enjoyed it, even though it was pain.
I used to do that with like arm hairs and stuff. Like I liked the feeling of it as a kid. And I remember other kids or teachers being like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. One of the things that my boyfriend got, it's like you've probably seen it all over TikTok. It's a thing called little ouchies. And he's been encouraging me more and more to use that because I also have other stims that I do that are harmful. Like I have like the borderline trichotillomania, but my psych doctor can't actually diagnose me with it because I'm not actually pulling my eyelashes out. I constantly having to stim with them, but not in a way that usually my stimming as an autistic person results from some sort of internal feeling. I feel compelled to do these things to relax myself. But like with the eyelashes thing, I'm literally just like, no, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop. It's like OCD
Mhm.
almost.
Right, it's a compulsion, it's not necessarily a stim. I also will
Same. I did that one too. I did that one too.
will
Putting the hair
use the
claw on your
hair
lips.
claws, and it's not pain, but it is an uncomfortable pressure. Most people would find it very uncomfortable, but I like it. But what's interesting though, for those of us who experience every day chronic pain, higher levels of pain, and even folks who have really bad periods, who have PMDD, that kind of stuff, a lot of the things that bother other people actually make us feel better. It's wild. So I have in my hand, this is a TENS machine. This is a handheld one. It sends electrical currents through the little sticky pads, like when you had your little heart monitor, or if you've had an EKG or anything like that. These are those pads, and you stick them on your body, and then you turn this on, and you can turn it up. You turn up the electrical currents, so it's zapping your body. They use these. I've seen them on YouTube and all these videos of men trying to find out what
Oh,
periods
yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like, what period cramps feel like, or what childbirth feels like. They use these, they'll put a whole bunch of pads on to simulate those experiences. And what's hilarious to me is watching all of those dudes in the videos freak out and be like, "Oh my God, turn it off. I can't go to this level." And knowing that I use that same machine to make my pain better, that
Yep.
this amount of pain is much more tolerable than the average amount of pain that my body puts me through.
Mm.
So it just cracks me up sometimes to watch them, like, freaking out and being like, "Turn it off, take it off." And I'm like, "Oh, if only you knew."
You know what's really interesting about that? I saw a recent study when it comes to like the whole period cramps thing. I did not know that 1 in 10 women have endometriosis, or 1 in 10 uterus havers have endometriosis. And so I was looking into that. Did you know that there was a study done about men whose partners have endometriosis before there was a study done on how endometriosis affects women? They wanted to know how it affected the partners before the people with uteruses.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we've been dealing with forever. I will say though, if you deal with endometriosis, if you have uterine fibroids, anything like that, if you have really bad period pain, period cramps, TENS machine. Get a TENS machine. You'll stick the little pads on your stomach and then turn this on. What this does is the electrical currents going in, it tricks your nervous system. It's basically like, "Hey, look over there," right? Instead of over here, kind of thing. So when your nervous system is sending all the pain signals to one area of your body, putting this on then interrupts that. And they're like, oh, what are we feeling? I'm confused. Right. And so it tricks your nervous system. And then for me, it's been helpful with lowering the amount of pain that I'm feeling because my nervous system is so confused.
I'm gonna have to try that because I do experience severe period cramps. I do have a question about the TENS machine though. Like, is that like kind of like electric shock therapy in a way? Like, because you said it sends electrical signals in through your body to disrupt the nervous system. So is that like similar?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a medical professional, but I think the concept is similar. It really you just to me it feels like vibrations, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
But I guess it's like little zaps. Like I don't it feels different. I did get one of those facial it was sent to me, like as an influencer thing and then I was like, "Oh
Oh
no,
yeah.
I cannot recommend this." It was supposed to like help find lines or whatever. It was
Yeah.
like this little stick or whatever, right? Like that was metal and then you're supposed to put it on your face and it was supposed to help wrinkles or something. I don't know. But it just felt, when you get static shock and you get
Yeah, I
zapped,
hate that.
it felt like I was doing that on purpose and I didn't like the feeling. I was like, "Oh no, I hate this."
That is not a good pain stim for me. I'm
No,
just like,
no, it wasn't. But like this is different. It's like vibrations, but it's such like a very specific area. Like, but like tattoos feel like scratchy vibrations to me. So I don't know. Again, my pain receptors are real weird. But well, I will say it's more like a very, very targeted vibration,
Gotcha.
to like, a pinpoint area. So it's more effective. But I mean, these are like 20 something dollars that you can buy. It used to be you had to go get this from a medical company. Not anymore. You can just order this from Amazon.
Hell yeah. I'm down with that. I actually might get that because I'm 99% sure that I'm also a person with endometriosis. I've just never gotten it checked out. But like when I had to get an ultrasound for my UTI, and they're like, hey, you have a cyst on your ovary. It's like pretty
I get
big.
this too,
Um,
yeah. I also get them sometimes in my breast tissue. That was
oh
scary.
no.
I had to go through a bunch of testing thinking that I had breast cancer, and it turned out it was a cyst.
Well, that's slightly better, but I might get that because not only do I experience painful cramps when I'm on my period, I actually cramp when I ovulate as well.
Ooh,
So,
yeah.
like, there's for half of the month, basically, I'm in pain having to do with my uterus.
It's so small and like you could put it in the pocket of your pants because it's smaller than a phone. So
I am
it's
definitely gonna
very
look into that.
subtle. And I know they've started making a lot of little tiny heaters that are portable because like I use a heating pad for period cramps and for other pains, any kind of muscle pains and stuff. I
Mhm.
know that they've started make small portable ones, but TENS machines already the technology is already there. So do it.
You know what I find really interesting about how machines like that have become so much more accessible to the everyday public? You know who we all have to thank for that? Disability influencers. Let me just say that cuz I saw this TikTok earlier that like really upset me because it was like, "Oh, all influencers are grifters. They're just people with no talent who want to be famous for no reason." And I was just like, "Okay, but you're not considering the benefits that influencers actually do give to society. Those kinds of machines and disability influencers promoting them like the way you are right now as a form of like, hey, this is a way you can help yourself because you're disabled or you have a chronic illness."
And the medical community is probably not going to help you.
They're
You're
not.
going to be
And
waiting
so
several months for an appointment. Here's something that you can buy for $20 that could help you while you wait.
these companies, because of the work that we do as disability influencers, are realizing that they can profit off of us. And that in and of itself is like so just messed up in so many ways. And it is frustrating. But at the same time, it does also find ways to make things like that more accessible to us because then they don't have to go through the middleman of the medical professional. They can just provide these directly to us. So, like, if you ever are just like, oh my God, influencers do nothing.
Leave the disability out of it. Leave us out of it because we're trying to build community and help each other.
And for those who think that all influencers make a lot of money, not all influencers make the same amount of money because we don't make jack
Oh no.
doodly off of this.
Those of us in the disability community, those of us who are neurodivergent, we don't. We do not make good money. It'd be nice if folks would remember that. Guess what? Neurodivergent people use products too. I'm wearing lipstick right now. Okay, you don't have to be a beauty influencer, right?
Yeah. I was going to make a TikTok shop thing for the compression leotard that I got. And I was literally just going to be like, hey, if you have POTS, you should get this. This will improve your quality of life. And, that would also give me a little bit of a commission off of it because that's how most people on
We're
TikTok make their
trying to
money.
get by in a really broken system, y'all. Like, neither of us can work full time. Neither of us can do a lot of things because of our different health issues and disabilities. And
These chronic illnesses make it so hard. You were mentioning earlier about like the pelvic floor thing and how the compression gear has helped you with that. Same. That
it's
just
not that
clicked
the
for
like
me.
Spanxy underwear, to like
Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize this, but women in general are people with uteruses who are socialized as women. We in general actually have weaker pelvic floors. And a lot of that comes from fat phobia because we are trained to always keep our abdomen tight. We're trained to suck in our tummies as much as we can to look as skinny as possible. And that actually weakens your pelvic floor. If you don't even have a chronic illness or you're not suffering from a UTI, but you still find yourself like peeing a little bit when you laugh or if you cough too hard, that's because you have a weakened pelvic floor. And as a result of my autism making me hold in my pee a lot, I have a very weak pelvic floor. I've had issues of having accidents and peeing my pants at school and needing to bring spare pants.
I had an accident last month. It's a combination of the autism and the interstitial cystitis. Typically, every 2 hours, I have to go to the bathroom
Mm.
just in case. I was so hyper focused. I was so involved in what I was doing. I was like, "No, I just wanna watch this movie all the way through without stopping and going to the bathroom. Just let me freaking do it. I just wanted to be normal and watch the." Nope, nope, had an accident.
And the compression has helped with that. And, just saying that, like that whole be normal thing, I have been fighting against buying the compression socks specifically. And I've been fighting myself, like knowing that I need to wear these every day for the rest of my life. And it's because, like, we associate things like compression socks with older people who are going through heart conditions or like they're on blood thinners and things like that. And because I'm a woman and people treat women like if you're over 30, take them behind the barn and shoot them. Like they're done. They have reached their plateau.
If I didn't have flaming red hair, I would be invisible to most of the population. Yes. Like, I'm 40. I'm a ghost.
My brain is just so stuck on, like, I'm trying to unlearn that and be like, I am still young. I'm only 31. I am only 31 and I look damn good for my age. I get people telling me they think I'm 21. So thanks, skincare, Korean skincare. But I've been fighting what my body needs because I have this like insecurity of like, I don't want to be old before my time. I don't want to need a walker or a wheelchair when I'm this young. And I just have to face the reality that one, I have a chronic illness that is going to require me to wear compression gear every single day for the rest of my life. And two, I also have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means whether I like it or not, I'm probably going to need a walker or a cane by the time I am 40. No matter how much I work out, no matter how much I take care of my body, no matter how healthy I eat, I am still going to be disabled at the end of the day. And there is nothing I can do about that. So I might as well do the things that improve my quality of life. Sure, I can't wear crop tops as often as I want because I need to be wearing compression gear and like Spanx and stuff. But I can plan new outfits. I got some thigh high compression socks, and I'm really looking forward to planning an outfit with them. My compression tights, they're literally designed to look like pantyhose.
They have really cute stuff now because of disability content creators, because of the visibility of disability influencers. There's tons of stuff where now mobility devices, mobility aids come in fun colors, come in fun prints. There's companies that make wheelchair rims that are decorative rims for your wheelchairs that look so cool. I I mean, finally glasses have caught up, right? We finally have cool glasses like those. These are all accommodating devices, like accessibility devices and things. I think it is hard. Even for those of us who like are disability advocates, we still have to get over that internalized ableism of like, oh, I'm going to look old, I'm going to look different, I'm going to like, it's embarrassing, fill in the blank. You need what you need, so use it. Right?
The people who really do help are not just disability influencers, but like public figures and actors who don't hide their disability even at big events. Like Selma Blair, I believe her name is. The actress who played Vivian
Yes.
in Legally Blonde. She has MS, and she very famously came out to a red carpet with a cane. She looked fabulous, but she did an interview immediately after. She's like, I have MS and I need other people to see that I have this condition because it is lifelong. It is a lifelong condition. We need to raise awareness. But just the act of her bringing that to a red carpet, that mattered. She made it look fabulous. She made it look like an accessory.
Mobility devices can be cool. Like, of course, I am obsessed with the Victorian era, and I'm like, canes are cool, y'all. Like,
They are. I think we should go back to wearing them.
they should just be a more normal part of daily life. I mean, that's actually been the nice thing about being in the nerd community. If you show up to a convention or to the Ren Fair or things like that, and you've got a big old walking stick, you've got a staff to help you, like, everybody's like, oh, that's baller. Right? They're not like, oh, you have trouble walking? It's like, I want that to be normalized. I want it to just be something that like you do and we can do. I love there's some of the folks that I follow have like such punk rock canes and handles on their wheelchair and stuff that they've done. Like, I love it.
That is the really nice thing about the goth community is basically it's like you're cosplaying every single day. We are cosplaying. Like, that's basic like, let's admit it,
Yeah.
goths, fellow goths, that's what we do every single day. So, like, one of the things that I didn't realize had been helping me with my POTS the entire time is that I wear corsets a lot. I fucking love wearing corsets, and when I wear a corset, I want that thing to be so tight, I look like Keira Knightley in the first Pirates of the Caribbean before she fell off that cliff, except without the cliff part. But you know what I mean? Like, I wear a lot of corsets, and I did not realize that that was helping me with my POTS. And so if I just show up one day wearing a corset, no one's gonna question and be like, why is she being weird? They're gonna be like, Ricky's on her goth thing again. I'm always on my goth thing, except for the 80% of time that goths just look like gremlins. Like, we look like Bilbo Baggins never left Smeagol's cave, and we're just like we're just sitting there like my placis, and it's like our favorite.
I don't think people realize how I'm very into creepy things. Like, I like taxidermy and insects, but also I've got these are all moths, but it's rainbow. I have a strawberry shortcake skull.
I love it!
This is me. I'm like, rainbow bright goth.
You're also very pinup, which is very interesting because, like, pinup, especially with modern pinup, it actually does combine a lot of styles and aesthetics from both the punk rock movement and gothic movements, which I love. I love it. But I imagine that because pinups also require tight clothing that compresses you, that's something very easy for
Me to
disability to
incorporate.
exist
Yeah.
in.
I
Yeah.
just do a lot of funky styles, so yes, it is a lot easier for me to incorporate different things into my outfits as far as like accommodating accessories and things like that. There's jewelry actually they make for people with hypermobility. There's that
Really?
yes, so some of my friends need to wear finger splints because they dislocate or need supports on their fingers. I'm not at that point yet, but they make really cool looking, very Victorian, very almost like little armor. Like you can get like little
Mm.
finger armor or things that look like that have chains,
Mm.
very goth jewelry going on.
I'm not gonna lie, if I needed finger splints, if I get to that point, I'm just gonna go all in and wear,
Immediately
like,
you're like, I want
I
chainmail.
well, no, I'm just gonna go all in and get, like, the Witch King of Angmar from Lord of the Rings, his, like,
Yeah.
gloves. I'm
They
just gonna
look
wear
like
those
that.
every day. See? I'll just wear those every day, and people will question and be like, I'll flip them off with my Witch King of Angmar and be like, "None of your business. I'm coming to fight the hobbits." I will defeat. Well, I actually listen. I cheer when the Witch King of Angmar dies because it is my feminist moment of "I am no man." That literally is that line was the pipeline that sent me on to where I am today. But Eowyn wasn't ashamed of wearing chainmail, so why should I be ashamed of it?
Exactly. I think that the more we see this out and about, the more we see it online, accessibility becomes normalized and that's good for everybody because even though we're like, oh, it's only for old people. Well, we all will get to an age at some point where it is a necessity. So even if you are able-bodied and healthy for the time being, you won't be later. So just get on board with it earlier.
And the more you accept it, the more you make it easier for both yourself and people coming after. I would not be able to incorporate my compression gear into my everyday life if there weren't disabled people before me who pushed for that to happen. If there weren't disabled people before me who really pushed their visibility so far that they were like, "Hey, I don't want to just be disabled and look like I don't deserve to make myself feel good." Like, I appreciate that so much because it makes my life easier. It means that I'm gonna have a less hard time integrating my disability stuff into my everyday life and improving my quality of life.
And I've talked about this before, so I'm going to bring it up again. Is the more we normalize things, the more readily available they become, and it helps everybody. I used to, back in the day when I was teaching special ed, we could only get fidgets for my students from specialty catalogs. It was so frustrating and expensive and whatever, and we would like make some of ourselves. Guess what? Fidgets now, I don't care that it was a trend or people think it's like played out or fill in the blank or annoying.
Mhm.
Guess what? This is accessibility.
Mhm. It is.
Autistic and ADHD people can get a hold of different fidgets now everywhere. You can get them like Five Below, okay? Instead of having to go order it from a special education catalog. And
And
that's because people put it out there and made it common. And it helps everybody.
back in the early 2000s, when I was originally diagnosed with ADD, I was so against that label because in the early 2000s, like that was like you're the broken kid. You got to take medication. You're the weird kid. Like I was even watching Desperate Housewives, which was made in 2004, and in the first season, like Lynette, the liberal one, refused to give her kids clearly ADHD, refused to give them ADHD medication because she was like, oh, it's going to change them. I don't want to pump them with pills just because I can't handle it. But the more that people with ADHD pushed back on that, the more normalized ADHD became. And now in film and television, people make jokes about having ADHD. They'll make jokes about forgetting their ADHD medication. It's something that's so normal. Like it took us a while to get here, but it took disability influencers, it took people talking about disability, talking about these comorbidities and talking about this over and over and over again. You may think it's annoying, but we have a purpose in this world and we're making it better for everyone else. And
Absolutely.
now when I was originally diagnosed with ADD, well, it's ADHD. My doctor was using a DSM like 3 because the DSM-4 took ADD out and made it ADHD, but the DSM-3 was like, no, these are separate. But when I was initially diagnosed, they would test you for everything else before landing on ADHD. And it was the same with autism. They would test you for everything else because these were always last resort disorders because they were secret, they were bad. But now, thanks to autism influencers, thanks to ADHD influencers, thanks to the work that people like us have done before we even got here, if you find a good enough specialist, which they are so much more common now, they will straight up give you an autism assessment. They will give you an ADHD assessment.
We know those professionals, and I'm so thankful. And now there are medical professionals who are autistic, who
Mm-hmm.
are ADHDers, and they're out here helping change the game. They're teaching other psychologists and things. They're like, hey, here's the reality of this. So again, it's so important.
And also, one last thing that I do want to say, because I think a lot of us are afraid of the idea of being comorbid because, again, we have that internalized disability, or that internalized ableism. So we're like, oh my God, I'm already disabled. I can't have multiple disabilities. That makes me so much less than. We're afraid to find out if we have more than one thing. But honestly, you have more than one thing. Everyone has more than one thing going on. That's part of the neurodiversity movement. It's not about being disabled. It's not, even though they are disabilities, but it's not about being disabled. It's about knowing your brain and knowing how you function. Because no matter how much you fight it, no matter how much I fought my POTS diagnosis, I was being affected by it to the point where like it was damaging my ability to do what I love, which is working out. And the more I fought it, the less I'd be able to do what I love. So like it's uncomfortable, but if you think you have a comorbid disability, look into it. Just look into it because if you accept it, it will help. It can't hurt you.
Absolutely. And I think that we still are trying to overcome this fear of labels, right? Because we, as a society, a big corporate we, have this fear that like if I get a diagnosis, if I get that label, that's what makes me disabled. That's what makes me different. That's what does all these things. And I'm like, no, you already were autistic. You just didn't call it that. Like your brain was already wired this way. Okay. I have these conditions, I have these medical issues going on in my body. Whether they are labeled or not, they're still happening to me and I'm still struggling with them. So finding out what they are, finding out that this is EDS, it's POTS, it's autism, fill in the blank, finding that out helps me find treatments and coping mechanisms and community. Okay, so the label doesn't change anything. It just gives you a specific thing now to learn about and help yourself.
No matter how much you fight it, you're disabled. And everyone will be at one point.
Yep, you're going to
Everyone will
join
be.
the group if you live long enough, you will join us.
Join us. Join us.
Anyway, thank you all for listening. I hope that some of this has been helpful. Again, not a doctor, don't play one on TV, but we are both available to audition. That being said, thank you so much for watching and listening. You can find Asking Autistics on every platform under Asking Autistics. And I am Lindsey Brains and Spoons. You can find me as Brains and Spoons on all platforms.
And I am Ribera Bonbon, asking you to subscribe and join us.
Don't forget to hit all those buttons and listen next time.
Bye.
Bye.